Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damian the Wolverine Hill. And if you hear that background noise, it's just some chest beating because the silverback, CJ Hayes, is here, and he's getting ready to fight this Friday night at LFA 108. But first, we got to run through the sponsors of the show: Valhalla Combat Sports, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, the Striking Institute, and my mom, and of course the fighters. CJ motherfucking Hayes, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. The motherfucking is silent, but I'm real good, man. I'm good. Weigh in tomorrow, fight Friday. So get to eat Thursday, get to eat Friday, man. Let's go. It's been a long time coming. It's been over a year since the last time, and I am nothing but ecstatic to go in there again. So
yeah, well, with it being over a year since your last fight, and the quarantine happened. Everybody had to suffer through that. A lot of fighters started to gain weight and pick up in weight. You're getting down. You look like you're close to being on weight. How's your weight looking how's your weight looking right now? And also, how has the weight preparation been going for you through the quarantine and also preparing for this fight?
Lean and mean now, man. But you guys, if you had seen me a year ago at this time, I was a fat fuck, dude. Oh, man. I swear to God, I did see the scale hit 251 at one point, man. I got big, dude. It was lockdown, whiskey, poor decisions. I feel like every fighter that had to deal with the shutdown kind of went through at least a little bit of a depression. Everybody handled it differently. I happened to just get fat as hell at first. And kind of just was like, all right, time to reel it back in. And around that time, my girlfriend, Jess Pruitt, was getting her nutrition certification done. And I decided I was not going to drink. I took a nice long break, teach myself some damn discipline again. You guys know I like to get wild and stuff, but it was just too long of a streak of getting wild. So taught myself some more discipline, and, I'll have a drink or two after my fight and everything. But, she really broke down a good diet plan for me and a good, adding more rehabilitative stuff to my strength training as well, to kind of get the best of both worlds, kind of tearing up my muscles, getting stronger, but at the same time rehabbing them a couple times throughout the week as well. I don't know, man. With all these long layoffs in between fights and the COVID lockdown, I mean, every single time I've evolved, every single fight. And I always have a long layoff. So everybody else just got a little taste of my world, real long layoff for everybody. And I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. I'm ready to go. So, but yeah, the diet and preparation, I'm leaner than I've ever been. I'm in the best shape of my life right now. And I dieted most of the weight off. This is going to be a tiny, tiny, tiny little water cut compared to the previous camp and any camp before that. I can't say I've been this comfortable on my weight, making weight, for about 10 years now. So this is going to be a whole different CJ than anybody's seen.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, I'm excited to hear it. It's one of those things where a lot of the fighters that they blame the quarantine for why they gained a lot of weight and everything. And you mentioned that partly affected it, but it was a lot more, from what I heard anyway, is a lot more of the discipline aspect and you not going after that. And now that you have, dude, I'm glad to see it. Especially, we've talked with a few fighters already, and a lot of them took this time to slack off because they believe the others are slacking off. It seems like you've been working and doing the work, dieting and doing everything the right way leading into this fight. Do you feel like the quarantine kind of set that up for you where you refocus your mind? Because you say you evolve in your breaks. And then do you feel like you're at somewhat of an advantage going into your fights now?
I think so. I know my opponent, he has fought a couple times during the lockdown because he trains out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Okay. So, and he's been going out of state to all the other open states. But, the difference is, which is great, he's going to be real sharp in this fight. And everybody's probably worried about a little ring rust with me, but this ain't nothing new. I've always had a long break in between fights, surgeries and all that bullshit. But I think I have the edge because I'm hungry. I'm hungry as hell for it, and I think the lockdown and like kind of losing myself for a minute let me almost reset myself, reset my brain. I've kind of dealt with a lot of different, like processed a lot of things about myself that I didn't like and kind of what I trashed and what I could still salvage and basically polish up and make look real nice again. So I've really been working on myself inside and outside of the ring, and I think this is probably the most clear, calm, collected. Also, fucking jittery and nervous as shit. Still, don't get it twisted. But I think this is my most cool, calm, collected self that I've been for fighting yet. So I'm just really excited to see what I can go do out there. So.
And we've talked to you now plenty of times, and I'm getting that vibe from you. You sound like you're in a great place mentally going into this fight. And one of my favorite takeaways that you said here a little bit ago is you mentioned that you feel like this is the best you felt, on weight-wise and comfortable in about 10 years. And that leads to a perfect segue, because about 10 years ago, those were your wrestling days. And this fight, let's get into the fight a little bit. This is a fight for Minnesota wrestling fans. These are two names that if you follow Minnesota wrestling, you're going to recognize. Obviously, you're fighting Jeff Nielsen. And this fight obviously taking place in South Dakota, but like I said, this is a Minnesota fight. So tell me about, how does the background on this fight, because I know it interests you, and how this came into play.
Well, I mean, I feel like me and Jeff both knew that this was going to happen eventually. Because, we in the off season of high school wrestling, we had freestyle and Greco. And if you did well throughout the freestyle Greco season, you'd end up on Team Minnesota for the national team. And me and him were always national team teammates every year going through high school. We never got to wrestle each other like actually in competition, but we've always trained together and stuff like that for a long time in the off seasons. And then obviously we stayed friends throughout college wrestling and everything, and kept in touch during fighting. And obviously we saw we're at each other's weight class, so we like each other, but we've been watching each other. And a while back we were talking about it. We're like, yeah, if we both keep winning, this is gonna happen, and it came up and we're like, it's sure as shit. We both got the contract and we both knew what the other person said. So of course we're saying, yes, we're going to fight. It's just like I was saying to him earlier today when we were both down there for the COVID test was, it's funny and pretty, like it makes sense that this is our reunion, to not see each other for this many years. And this is our reunion. We're going to see each other in the cage. He's a bad motherfucker, and he's always been tough. He's comes from a great wrestling family, great wrestling background, but we know that I'm no slouch in that area either. And what interests me the most is whenever you see two really high-level wrestlers go into the cage, it's usually a pretty big banger fight. It's a lot of. I mean, the wrestling will get used, I'm sure, but like I feel like we're gonna slug it out quite pretty intense fashion.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a fight that regardless of where it goes on the feet or on the ground, it's going to be exciting the whole time. I don't know, man. I'm excited more because of the backstory that you have, because I've seen things like this play out with other people where they were either friends or teammates and stuff. The fight gets offered and one says yeah, and then the other one messages the other guys like, hey, they offered me to fight you. I don't know if we should do it, blah, blah, blah. And it seems like you guys are just both in for the friendly competition. You're both fighters. You fight the same weight class. Let's just do it. Let's get it done with. Doesn't mean I hate you. It means we're going to work today. Like, yeah, I'm just glad. Like, there's no question.
This fight, well, first of all, this fight is definitely, like, Minnesota-wise, this is for the wrestling fans. This is one for the wrestling fans. But then also, this fight's going to put a big spotlight on both of us, because I feel like after this fight, a lot of heads are going to be turned our way, regardless of the outcome for either of us. It's going to bring a lot of attention to both of our names. So at least on the local circuit.
Yeah, and you especially like at the amateur level still too. It's you guys are still going to have time to climb and make a name for yourselves anyway. But it's one of those things where. Right now, like how many times have we seen fights where these guys are fucking great? They're throwing hands, they're going hardcore. And then neither guy loses stock at the end of the fight. Yes, there's a winner and there's a loser, but both guys' stock rose at the end of the fight, and I feel like there's no way that doesn't happen between you two.
Yeah, man, this is like early Dogecoin right here, man. Like this motherfucker, it could burst for both of us. I mean, I don't want to talk about how it's doing today, but
yeah, that's neither here nor there. But this fight, obviously, this is Dogecoin about 2 months ago. It skyrocketed, the excitement. Like you said, when a card like this, when LFA, obviously the television portion, it's all the pros, it's geared towards the pros. But when you get an amateur fight like this, I guarantee, the limited seats that are going to be available are going to be filled early in the night for this type of fight. And you mentioned already kind of what I was going to get into, though. When you get two wrestlers and obviously it usually turns into a big time striking match. A lot of his wins are by TKO finish. We've all seen you fight the ham hocks you're throwing at people. Is that kind of not what you're expecting, but has preparation been geared towards more of a stand-up fight, knowing that obviously you've been wrestling since you were a kid, or has this been more of, like you said, the evolution of Cooper Hayes with the last year off?
It's been a whole lot of everything, man. We'll do like half of our training is stand up, half of our training's on the ground, and and like all throughout all of it, we're kind of mixing it here and there in between and stuff, man. It's just, this is going to be a well-rounded fight from two well-rounded fighters, and so we've been training like that. I've been training like this dude's the baddest motherfucker in the world, because that's the mindset I have to have when I'm coming into this. Damien left us. He probably joined us here quickly.
Difficulties. You go ahead and finish,
but yeah, he I think coming back into this with a new evolved form of myself, I think it's going to be pretty stand-up-ish. But I don't think either of us are afraid to pull the trigger with the wrestling either. So it should be interesting, man. I'm ready for wherever it goes. But I obviously I'm hoping for the stand-up banger, because he has TKOs, I have TKOs and a knockout, and Muay Thai and MMA, and that would make a lot of excitement. And regardless, like you're bringing up, is geared more towards the pros. That's fine. We're going to have some bangers real early. There's only a few amateur fights, and we're going to be done. The amateurs will all be done by 6 p.m. So then I got the rest of the night doing what the hell I want, man. I'm pretty excited about that, too. Done by 6 p.m. It's going to be an early day for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, sorry for the...
I'm sorry, go ahead, Damien.
I was going to say, sorry for my technical difficulties. I have no idea why I just cut out from the call.
Yeah, well, we're definitely glad you're back. And go back, CJ. I like how you mentioned that. You got to get in there early, get done, then you got to enjoy those fights. And I don't want to give him too much shine, because we already did this with him. But a good friend of yours and another Minnesota wrestling staple, Thomas Peterson, is going to be on this card. What's it like getting to travel out to South Dakota? Even though MMA is obviously an individual sport, but you meet people along the way. And you've known Tom forever. What's it like being able to compete on a card with him at this, and getting a chance to watch him when you're done, like you said?
Oh man, I love Tommy so much. But yeah, actually, earlier on, a few months ago, we were training together. We were all going to the Striking Institute doing big boy only sparring. So basically, you had to be 210 and up. So obviously, as the diet progressed, once I started weighing like 203, I was just like, hey, I'm close enough, let me go. And then, but once we got towards the end of camp and stuff, and once Caitlin went and had to go quarantine for her PFL fight and everything, that was when I stopped going for a little bit, because I think they changed it to Saturday, like right after my cellar sparring. And I was like, I don't know about that. That sounds a bit excessive. But no, it was awesome, and we got to train together. He's like fighting a bear, dude. Like, he's so strong, and it's nice to catch up with an old friend / basically little big brother now. He's huge now, but he used to be little brother to me. And that's gonna be fun, man. We'll definitely, we're not obviously not cornering each other, but we'll be there for each other, you know, whatever they need. And then the after party will be real fun because that's my dog, man. That's my dog. So, you know, hopefully both me and him both come out with getting the finish, getting the W. You know, I'd love to see him keep this first round streak going. That'd be nice. But,
This is one of those things like your matchup. Sorry.
oh, it's all good, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I was like your matchup with your opponent, and then Thomas Peterson being on the same card as you. I'm pissed that this card isn't going down in Minnesota. This is making me mad. We need to get our shit together. And then my question is like, how much bigger of a fight do you think that this would have been if it went down in Minnesota? I mean, not that it's not a big fight, but if there's crowds were involved and we were able to basically, if people were broadcasting this fight, that this is going to be live at the Myth, how much bigger do you think it would have been?
Well, this actually has a live crowd, so that's yeah. I think we're gonna have a couple thousand there, and it's at the Sanford Pentagon here in Sioux Falls, and I haven't been out there yet. Everything's today at the Holiday Inn, and so is weigh-ins and everything like that. But no, they're gonna have an open crowd, so that's gonna be nice. You know, my opponent's training out of Sioux Falls, so most of them are gonna be yelling for my head on a platter. But you know, that's fine. You know, I love MMA fans, man. They can be ratchet as they want. I'll still love them. But I do have quite a posse coming out for me as well. So you know, I gotta have my squad, dude, a little entourage. But no, if it was in Minnesota, and everything was wide open, it would have sold out. All the tickets would have sold out. Like with this many names, they're so like household names in Minnesota, it would have sold out like that.
Dude, that's all I'm like, there's a big part of me that is ashamed that this fight isn't happening in Minnesota. I already said that, but I'm just saying, like, man, this is one of those cards that if this would have been a main event on any other promotion, not LFA. I mean, this is a main event fight. I swear to God, they're getting. Oh, they bought in on the Doge early. Is the way you said it earlier. It's like, dude, like there's no way you get this fight any other way without. I mean, there's just so much shit, dude. This is a big fucking fight. I love it. I love this matchup. And then I don't know, the fact that it's happening for LFA does make it a little bit more prestigious. You know, LFA doesn't just they're hardly doing any amateur fights right now anyway, and the guys that they are picking, they're not just picking anybody. So to be during the pandemic, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, you froze for half of that, man, so I didn't catch all of that.
I don't remember what I said. All I can say is that basically I'm excited as fuck, and I'm mad that it's not happening here.
I'm so excited for this, man. Obviously the exposure of the LFA, you know, that's a pretty big platform, and it's an honor, you know, like you just said, they're not calling just any amateurs anymore, you know, it's the cream of the crop, yeah. They're only calling up the cream now, man, and we're coming, and that's gonna like echo throughout all of this. Like, it's gonna echo in people's ears. They're gonna be like, that was a banger. That was CJ Hayes and Jeff Nielsen. You know, that, you know, it's there's so many good fights on this card, and a lot of big people too, man. I was looking at a lot of these guys at the test. Unless they cut a lot of weight, man, these motherfuckers are big out here. I'm like, damn, yeah.
When you have a fight this big, and you have a fight like, I mean, where both of you guys are known, you guys are known locally, built up, and you guys both have similar attributes. This is one of those fights where it's like, I mean, you see this happening more as a pro. Do you feel like this is going to help you throughout the rest of your career, win, lose, or draw? Just this matchup, the hype behind it, and the build-up? And, I mean, yeah, that was my question.
Absolutely. You know, obviously, I'm not looking past him at all. I'm not, like, thinking about, oh, what are going to be my next steps or anything like that. But, no, it's just, I just know that this is going to be big for my future. And I'm really excited because this is something that usually you do this kind of matchup as in the pros, but even better, you guys get it in the amateurs. So, and we we will both be pro soon, and so basically we're both gonna be fighting like we have nothing to lose. Because everything sets back to 0-0 soon enough when we make the switch to pro. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, you know, is the huge matchup, being the underdog as always. I love that spot, man. Everybody keeps sleeping on me, you know, always the blue corner. That's fine, you know, because these guys keep sleeping on me. I'll keep putting them to sleep. And that's kind of how that's kind of the story of my career, and the story it will always be. But I'm going to be a problem for anybody I face. And even if I do lose down the future, you know, I ain't planning on losing this shit on Friday night. But even if I lose down the future, nobody that fights me is ever going to want to fight me again. So I'm leaving it all out there, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love the intensity in your voice as I'm hearing it. It's a generic question, but I always got to ask. You know, we've talked about the fight. We've talked about the matchup. Talked about how tough of an opponent you have in front of you. What's the one thing you got to bring with you Friday night into the cage to make sure that you get your hand raised?
I don't think as much what I got to bring in there is what I got to leave out. I leave not out of the cage, but leave in there when I'm done. I don't know, like I said, with the lockdown and everything and me getting like super fat, that wasn't just like, oh, I'm being a shithead, super fat. It was a bit of a depression, man. Everybody went through it in their own way, and everybody has their own things that they're going on in life. Sometimes added stress in my life because my profession outside of fighting is a social worker. And, you know, and sometimes I take their problems home with me too. You know, it all kind of wears on you, especially when you have to isolate with your small little pot of people and not really be sociable anymore. Go see your family, go to your grandpa's funeral, all that stuff, you know. There still hasn't been a funeral for my grandpa. But like I said, I've mentally and physically worked through a lot of my own issues in my life right now. And that's why I keep saying I'm fighting like I have nothing to lose, is because after this fight, all of that stuff that's been in there, I'm leaving it all in the cage. Everything that like was bothering me in my life that I've worked on and fixed, I won't even think about it anymore. I'm leaving it all out there. So it's a bit emotional, and, you know, I might be a little bit extra emotional right now because it's the day before weigh-in. So like all my hormones are going nuts, and, you know, and all these fighters are in here in this building. So it's like full of fucking testosterone, you know, but that's how I feel right now, man. I'm leaving everything out there come Friday night.
Dude, I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that, man.
Yeah, that was, as kids say, that was live. I mean, I'm excited. Do me a favor and please tell me how we're going to be able to watch this fight. Is somebody going to be going live? Obviously, the amateur fights aren't televised. How can you watch this fight?
The amateur fights probably won't be on UFC Fight Pass, I'm assuming. So this is a shout out to my best friend, Josh Kellerman. Josh, I know you're watching this tomorrow morning. Fucking live stream that shit on Facebook and put it on my wall. Please don't drink the Jägermeister until after my fight, and please record this and put it on my wall so everybody can watch this.
When you go live, Josh, when you go live, make it set for public so we can all watch it. I know you don't want to be bombarded with 1,000 friends.
Everybody message Josh Kellerman and tell him to record this shit. No. Bombard him.
Dude, I fucking love it. Honestly, now, I had one more question, but when you said all the stuff about you leaving it out in the cage, dude, I forgot my question when you were saying that, dude. I felt you, dude, that was some real shit.
It's a little amped up, doesn't it? I said I thought about that shit like yesterday, and like I've just been thinking about that all fight week, and every time it comes out of my mouth, like I feel my body start like shaking a little bit because I'm like, oh fuck, man, you really mean it. Like, and I've been speaking things into reality, man. Yeah, I've been speaking a lot of things into reality as they come over the years, and especially throughout like my past 6 months. You know, this past 6 months, I've been speaking a lot of things into reality, and we're gonna make some shit happen, man. It's gonna be fun, man. That's why I'm so calm right now. I mean, I'm nervous as shit. But there's no need to be nervous until I'm backstage warming up, where I feel like I'm gonna vomit or shit, you know. Yeah. Like where you're worried that the commission, like they're gonna come to you and be like, all right, let's time to go out there, and like that's when you have to poop, so you have to keep like going to the bathroom. Is that fart? You're not sure. I'll save that for the fight night while we're warming up and everything. But no, I feel collected right now, and that's why I feel comfortable saying that I'm gonna leave it all out there. I've had a lot of time to think about it.
It's a great place to be. And before we do wrap it up, always like to give you the platform to thank any teammates, sponsors, anybody outside the gym that's been there for you leading up to this big fight.
Well, I just got a text from Damien saying, sorry, bro, his laptop died. So as Damien has left the building, he is frozen still on the screen. But
Spirit, we'll put him there.
His face right now. There we go. All right. But yeah, shout outs. Obviously, shout out to Jess Pruitt for doing this diet and everything, and being there for me this whole time, my life partner, and Coach Ben and Coach Chris. Coach Ben always puts in a lot of extra time with me and gets really fight specific based on my opponent and makes it really suck the whole camp. So thanks, Coach Ben, for making it all suck so then it's easier during fights. Coach Chris, always just an endless supply of knowledge, just helping me like enhance my game, sharpen my skills every single fight. All my teammates out at the Cellar Gym, my barber at Saints Coast. Look at this beautiful beard work. I had my hair done earlier, but I threw a hat on. Trying to chill right now. And then Abomination Athletics, Abominable Grip. Always looking after me for my drip and my short shorts. Other than that, man, thank you guys for having me. Thanks LFA for the opportunity as well. They didn't need to call these amateurs up, and they did. So I get the spotlight for a little bit longer. So.
No, that's beautiful. And always thank you. I mean, we're obviously nothing without having you on the show. It seems like we might be getting Damien back here. But even if he does join in as we're signing it off, it's not a CJ Hayes episode without a Macho Man send-off. So please give us a Macho Man send-off.
Let me tell you something, TJ O'Connor. Yeah, Jeff Nielsen is a man made of steel, but yeah, gorilla versus machine, doubled and tripled by the exposure of the LFA. Of course, I'm interested. Friendships, business is business, and we got a date with Destiny May 21st. Yeah, dig it.
Goosebumps. May 21st, Sanford Pentagon. Be there if you can. Fans are in the building. If you can't, get on Josh Kellerman's Facebook page. We're watching you, Josh. It's going live.
Josh.
Subscribe to Trash Talk. Like this video. Damien, remind him what to do last.
Don't be a hoe. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Don't be a hoe.
Hey.
Can you hear me? It froze. I don't know. Don't be a hoe. What the fuck?